Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and welcome to the French Seams. Thank you very much for joining me for today's video. This is going to be a chatty style video where I catch you up on everything that's been going on in the past few weeks. So I hope you've all had a good few weeks wherever you are in the world. It's been a good few weeks here in the French Seams household. It's been very, very busy as always, but the end of term now is coming over the next few weeks here in Ireland, so there'll be less packed lunches and less uniforms to wash and less homework and less after school activities. But I have had a chance to do some lovely sewing and some lovely knitting and go on a very, very lovely outing as well. So I can't wait to catch you up on all of that. So shall we start with what I've been sewing? And I think you can guess, I finished my Reeta shirt dress and I just love it. I made this about 2 weeks ago and I've now worn it 3 times, so that's always a good sign. This is a fantastic pattern. I really, really enjoyed making it, and I knew with the Reeta shirt dress it doesn't have a waist seam that I'd be able to use this fantastic print. So I made a size 12 grading to a size 14 according to my measurements, and named patterns I think are drafted for 5'9", which is what I am, so it always works out beautifully. I don't generally have to make any alterations. So the alterations that I did make, I didn't add the pockets at the front because, as I said, I didn't want to interrupt this amazing print. I shortened the sleeve length by about 2.5 inches because I like short sleeves. And then with the waist channel, it's a very, very interesting construction. I wasn't quite sure how they did the drawstring at the waist, but it's actually just a piece of ribbon that you sew on the inside. I just used some plain white bias binding. I did have to lower that by about 1 inch to get it to sit right on my waist, but for that they use cord, but I actually made self fabric ties, and I used the tip that I saw in my choke and notch orchid dress, that I make 2 ties and then I join them at the back with a little piece of elastic, and I think it gives a really, really nice fit and a nice finish, and it's much more comfortable than just a drawstring, so I loved doing that. So it's quite full length. It's got a button placket all the way up and down. I did buttons, but I didn't do buttonholes. And it's got 2 side splits at the side as well, which makes it a beautiful breezy summer dress. I'm so happy with how this came out. And I'm going to pop in the little label that I used because this is the most perfect label by my lovely friend Adam Sews, and it says a cracking make, and it has a little octopus, which is just marvelous. So I'm just so pleased with how this dress came out. I would definitely recommend this pattern, and I really would make this again. It's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So, as I'm sure you're aware, I entered the Sew Skin Summer Challenge there in May. That's hosted by the wonderful Lucy from the Sewing Gardener. I made a little stash capsule, which is the pattern by my fantastic friend Sam, So Let's Sparkle, popping a picture here. And then I also made an oversized shirt, and that was the Ocean Daze shirt by Passion Emporium. And I actually won a prize, which was amazing. So Lucy, thank you so much. I was absolutely blown away and delighted. And would you know, I won a voucher from Named Patterns, which is just amazing. I think I was literally wearing my Named Patterns Reeta dress when I found out that I had won a prize. So I won a €50 voucher to Named Patterns, which is just incredible. I love their patterns. You can tell I love the Reeta dress. I've also made the Caillou dress, which I made for my Christmas Day dress, and I love the Kilo wrap dress. Absolutely love it. So I was delighted to win that prize. Lucy, thank you so much, and Named Patterns, thank you very much as well. So I went onto their website and I was humming and hawing, going through their patterns. They have an amazing pattern library, and I treated myself to 2 patterns, and I think I still have some of the voucher left over for a later date. So the 2 patterns I bought were their relatively new dress pattern called the Oodie, which looks beautiful. So I'll pop in a picture here. It's a woven dress, a full length dress with a button placket. It's got a beautiful panel at the waist, quite similar to the Style Arc Bell dress, which I love. It's got lovely big sleeves, and then it's got a fantastic Esme worthy bow at the back, and I just think that is the most beautiful dress. So I was delighted to get that one. I've been watching that one being released as well, which is marvellous. And then the other pattern I bought was the Olo pants. I'm popping a picture here again. They're styled with the Caillou sweater, which looks really nice. I think they're probably now more for the autumn winter, but they're basically a knit trousers, like a kind of smart loungewear kind of thing. So they don't have any outside side seams, so I think they're going to be quite an easy, straightforward make once I check the fit. But I think they could be very nice to make later in the year. So I was so delighted to win that prize, Lucy. Thank you so much. So that was a little bit of sewing that I've been doing. What else have I been up to? So I was very lucky this weekend to go on the vintage tea bus. So as you know, I love going to the Craft Cinema. So Craft Cinema Dublin are a fantastic group of ladies, and they organise the cinema trips where they play a movie. It could be a new release like The Devil Wears Prada, or it can be an older one, say like When Harry Met Sally. But they leave the lights on in the cinema, so you can bring your crochet or your knitting or your embroidery, whatever you want to do. And it is the most fantastic initiative, and I love going every single month. But during the summer, they had planned to go on the vintage tea bus to celebrate Worldwide Knit in Public Day, which is just fantastic. So I knew I had to go on this trip. So we all met in Dublin city centre, and we got on the vintage tea bus, which is basically an old renovated vintage bus where you have afternoon tea. I mean, what could be better? So we had beautiful sandwiches, beautiful cakes, beautiful scones, cups of tea. We were all doing our knitting and having loads of chats while driving around Dublin city centre. So much fun. It was absolutely brilliant. Then we all got off the bus and we went into Stephen's Green, which is a huge big park in the centre of Dublin, and we put out our picnic blankets. I was able to put out my summer Serdar crochet along blanket, pop in a picture here. So delighted that actually got to be used on a summer picnic, and we sat in the sunshine and knit and chat, and the weather was just incredible. It was blue skies, it was warm, it was sunny. It was just the most wonderful time sitting around with like-minded people, doing our knitting, chat. It was just wonderful. So thank you so much, the ladies at Craft Cinema Dublin, for organising such a wonderful event. And if there is a worldwide knit in public event near you next year, then definitely get involved. So what was I knitting? I hear you cry. So the last time I was on, I showed you my brand new finished stripe pipe sweater, and that I was casting on a new project. And I wanted to make the Cupcake sweater, and that is by Tin Can Knits. Pop in a picture here. Yes, this is the baby version. I'm making an adult version. I've got quite far on this. Quite challenging. There was a moment last week where I put it aside and thought, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I'm going to have to get on the bus and I'm going to have to ask somebody for help. I couldn't understand how to do it. Then a lightning bolt moment when I suddenly realised I was doing my make one left, make one right wrong. Then I ripped it back again, having already ripped it out about 5 times. Thank you, Lifeline. And I finally got it working. It is not perfect, but it's a damn sight better than it was. So shall I show you? So I am now at the stage where I have split off the sleeves from the body. So here it is. And this is my Cupcake sweater so far. So this, if I show you as I figure out which is the back, which is front. Right, this is the front. So here it is. So this is this lovely kind of lacy work at the top. My tension went a little bit awry, but I think you can get the general idea. So it's this beautiful pattern all the way across the top, and then it goes into this little scallop where you introduce the pink. And now I've just split off the sleeves here. These are fantastic little things here, little kind of rubbery bands that you can hold your stitches on. I got them from Olga's Own Craft. I'll link her down below. She's a fantastic yarn shop, and they're really, really handy for holding your stitches. So, and that's the other sleeve. Oops, there goes a ball of wool. And now I'm just literally, I just knit in the round all the way down, literally to where I start the rib. So that's going to be easy peasy after doing all this at the top. But I'm very, very happy with how it's going. So I think it's very, very cute. And I love this speckledy, cupcakey sprinkle yarn. So this is a double knit in this beautiful, I think it's called Bambino Dotty, which is really, really pretty. So this is my knitting, and I'm very, very happy with it so far. So watch this space. So I knew I was going to be bringing my knitting on the vintage tea bus and sitting out in Stephen's Green knitting. And I thought, well, I need a little bag to carry my blanket and carry my knitting. So I was thinking, what kind of bag will I make? Because I definitely don't have enough bags. And then I was thinking, hang on, it's June, it's so fruity. Why not try and make a fruity bag? So I was on Instagram and I saw a few of these little reels, and it was for a little fold out bag that gathered into a little shoulder bag. And I was so intrigued with it. It's basically a circle, and then you put in tabs and then a strap, and then you can pull it up from 2 of the sides and it becomes a little bag. I was so intrigued by this. I'll link down below the original one that I saw. Credit to whoever invented this. And I thought, well, I can make that. Let's see how I get on. So shall I show you? So, and this is the bag. So you can see my So Fruity fabric here, these beautiful lemons on this lovely block print fabric I got from Rainbow Fabrics. So I basically cut out 2 huge circles, and then I quilted them with a little bit of fleece in the middle because I'd run out of batting, and then I bound all the edges. So the initial video that I saw, it was more bagged out because they didn't quilt it, and I think it was toweling on the inside, but I just thought the quilting would look very nice. So what I did then was I used these little kind of tabs, and I cut one long big strip and fold it into the middle, and then sew the two sides. And then I cut them into, I think, 5-inch pieces and sewed the tabs all around the outside and managed to tuck it into the binding, and then tucked it in here and sewed that down as well. And so I put them at fairly regular intervals along the side, and then at the top and bottom I left a bigger gap because you can see I've got little labels here. So this one is a little rosy cheeks, it says cherry on top, and then the one on the other side says Hello Summer, and that's from Cozy Club. So basically you leave a bigger gap at each side, because then once you pull up the drawstring it becomes a little bag. How fun is that? And this is the most glorious webbing that I got from the lovely Adam Sews in the advent calendar. So I'll pop in a little video here. All credit to my wonderful friend Anna for taking the video. Thank you, Anna, to show you how it's working, and it just worked a treat, and I just love making it. It was so simple and so effective, and it was just so fun. So if you do have a spare 2 meters of fabric, I would definitely recommend giving this a go. It's so much fun. So this is my So Fruity entry. So Fruity challenge is always run in June by the lovely Yvette from Blossom Sandwich, and it's basically sew a fruity fabric or a fruity theme. So I definitely think I nailed that brief this year. So much fun doing that, and it was just perfect to bring my fruit summer blanket and my little knitting on the fantastic vintage tea bus. So it was just a marvelous weekend. So that's basically what I've been doing. Do I have any plans? Yes, I do. So I have 2 plans that I would love to make quite soon. So the lovely Steph from the Fabric Romance, her shop sadly closed down a few weeks ago, but she was doing a little bit of a de-stash on, I think, just fabric she had left over, and she put this up on Instagram with sharks. It is a kind of a board short swim fabric, which is really cool, and I thought my boys would love this. So I really want to make us, me included, some fun summer shorts, kind of paddling shorts, swim shorts, that kind of stuff. How fun would this be? So watch this space. I'd love to make us those matching shorts. And then my other plan, which I really want to get made up, is with this beautiful fabric. It's just plain black linen that I got from Dressenstoffen, and this I really want to make a black Fleur dress. I think would just look so nice. So I've made the Fleur dress before twice, so I think I have the pattern all printed out ready to go, and I'd love to get this made up soon because I think it would just be lovely, and this linen is just gorgeous. I've got a few things in this linen from Dressenstoffen. It's just lovely to work with and lovely to wear as well. So these are my little plans. So that is a roundup of what I've been doing over the past few weeks. I hope you've all been well. I hope you've all been getting time for some lovely sewing as well. If you have any questions on anything I've spoken about today, please do leave me a comment in the comment box below. You know how much I love having the chats. If you like this video, I would love it if you give me a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. I would love to have you along on my sewing journey. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all getting time for some lovely sewing, and I will talk to you all again very soon in another video. Take care, everyone. Bye.